Okay, pranams to all of you masters. Thank you for attending today's session. My first gratitude to Pitama Patriji and also to PSSM Malaysia to continue the progress of our society, and we hope this is taking on the great direction from hereafter. Now, my also giving me the opportunity to come and discuss what I have in mind regarding the autobiography of Yogi. So basically, I have in mind to share on the first chapter the insights, basically the message behind the story, incidents, experience of the Yogi. And because if you just read the book, of course, the book has a bit, some chapters are a bit technical, difficult to understand. But otherwise, the stories are quite catchy and interesting. It is like sometimes daily, day-to-day life, some parts of it, especially the beginning of it. And I've observed, I too have done about 2 or 3 readings, 2 complete, 3 I select my chapters whenever I feel like I want to know some knowledge or something. It's a joy to read this book. Now, going back to the first chapter, it talks about the early life of his childhood life. He was born 5th January, 5th January 1893 in a town called Gorakhpur. Parents are Bhagavati and mother Jnana Prabha. So father was attached to the railway, Bengal Nagpur Railway. Is quite a senior position, and even I believe he's retired as a vice president. So it's a very well high position in that sense. But you look at his background, father's background. He grew up very humble family, especially when his parents and grandparents and father passed away. He even mentioned that he has to rely on one piece of banana when he goes to college and school and all that. So he has come through the different phase in life, and is a very intelligent, intellectual, and very capable management person, and that's why he has. I believe he has elevated himself. Also, his wife, meaning Yogi's mother, she is from a reasonably comfortable background as well. At the same time, they also have lots of, they have lots of knowledge on Bhagavad Gita and the religious aspects of daily life. So she was basically the homemaker. And they were blessed with 8 children. And then, so can you imagine being a homemaker? She has to take care of the family needs and children and food and all that. So on top of that, the husband, meaning Yogi's father, is a traveler. Sometimes they shift to different, being transferred to different parts of India. So sometimes he has lived away from the family. So being a homemaker, the responsibilities bestowed on the lady. Yeah? So that's it requires a lot of ability to take care of the family and the children. Especially she practiced a culture whereby when the husband returns home, she ensures all the children are well dressed up, and to receive the father with that vibrant or with that clean environment. So that itself is something, some message where every parents we can take off. How, of course, all can't do, because nowadays both the husband and wife are working and all that. But to have children, and at the same time how to take care the needs or cater the needs of the children towards the family's values and all that. Now, having said that briefly, I would like to touch upon a few incidents. That is where the story comes, at the same time the message behind. If you read any book for that matter, when you read a book, it is just information, the first reading. You cursorily read, or you read it for the sake of a fast reading, and then you want to complete the book. On the other hand, if you understand the message behind it, then it becomes knowledge. Because stories we can forget, and knowledge something once you understand, comprehend, it can be in our thoughts and mind. And then the deeper aspect of it is when there are sometimes this kind of books and all these are written with an intention of the practicality of that incidents. What is the outcome, or how it impacts another person's life, or the character's life in that book. So when you look at that part, and if it's something good or something right, or something which is not so right, which we too may have that tendency, we should avoid putting away such habits, and avoid or discard those kind of habits. It is a lesson in that sense. And that is where, when we spiritual books especially, we as aspiring spiritual seekers, we need a lot of those kind of insights, even to begin with, from the home, apart from our daily life in our office or in our society and anywhere be. So that is the beginning, that is the space the yogi has set in the book, so that he has to, like, he has touched on his family background itself as to how he is growing. Apart from that, I've noticed, not say noticed, it's in the book there, where in the early childhood life, when he grew up and as a toddler, as a young infant and all that, he is ordinarily he is exceptionally a gifted child. Perhaps that is due to his past karma and all these practices, virtues he has been practicing. So in that sense, but then being a toddler, young child and all that, where he didn't play the ordinary manner like a child with toys and games and that kind of pranks. His thoughts and mind and all this is ordinarily, he can see visions or imagine things, past life incidents and things in that manner. It is written to that extent whereby when he wrote the book, he can recall the incidents even as a child. But unfortunately, he couldn't express it. He doesn't have the age or the maturity, or people will laugh at him, or he doesn't even know for that matter. So, and especially young child and all that. One incident I would like to tell is, even at the age of about as early as 12 and all that, he has the tendency, being a naughty child, not to do mischievous things in the wrong way, but the tendency of his craze, his single-minded thought, because all is the initial exposure to this knowledge about past, future, life incidents, and he can picture it, I believe, but he didn't. Even though I believe if he can express it in the book briefly, I I can imagine, we can only wonder how much of experience he would have had it, but he couldn't explain and talk to anybody on that. So in that sense, we can see that that is where he takes off from the home. He goes to the extent of planning with his friends, dressing up as a foreigner, white boy, and all that to escape from the family in pursuit of Himalayas and all that. So this is where sometimes, as we grow up with our children and we see their tendencies and all that, uh, I'm sure many of y'all, some of y'all may have experienced, even young children at an early age. Maybe even when you have a few children, all of them may not be the same. There could be some exceptionally either naughty or mischievous or doing things which is like wonder why they are capable. I think this is where it's a message for us. It is their past karmic life and past tendencies and habits, which sometimes we are too rigid and too disciplined, to the extent where now we have read books, even like Patriji's advice whenever children or family members, he has told them, never control the children after 18 years old and all that. Otherwise, provide them the guidance. So this is where its habits reflects how a child, when we are, coming, having our children and guiding them, to what extent we should be flexible enough as opposed to a very, very rigid approach towards them. Because even his parents, but I believe it's the way it's written, his parents knew about his eventual outcome. His parents knew, especially his mother, and definitely his father might knew. But end of the day, what they wanted, why they want to manage him to the extent that they wanted him to have at least a basic high school knowledge. That is their criteria. That is the criteria. But he, being an enlightened soul at an early age, but without knowing many things as to how and when, and have the patience or the tendency to learn things and then at the right time to do such things, he didn't know as a young child. So this is where, which by reading the book we can observe, or we can notice, or we can have that the message that we learn from those kind of messages as a child who does very peculiar or very unique or very mischievous thing. Now, coming back to the incidents here, as I said, if we analyze the book, in the later chapters, more technical, more issues, but the basic chapter itself, what I notice is the characters of the individual basic, the mother, father, and his father's employee, very, very basic information. But what it shows is, when someone is, take his father for example here, the father is such an intellect and is a great intelligent person, and he is capable of managing. Can you imagine working with the white guys and he's doing such a great job? Yet he too has some weaknesses. I take the opportunity, or rather, it's not right for me to say weaknesses. This is what I observe. Shortfall maybe. See, there is an incident where he grew up in a very difficult situation, so he knows the value of money. He knows the value of money, and he was so the pain he went through, as a young child and during the early days. But when he could afford to utilize the money to some extent, not necessarily were too generous and all that, he had the opportunity, and yet he refrained himself from spending. Where even yogis, cousins, and all that, they can cousins and families, they can afford automobiles and all that. His father never resorted to such things. He is a man who only lived within his means, not say within his means, beyond that also there's a possibility, but he stick on to the company trolleys or the company facilities, and so very prudent in that sense, to some extent overly prudent. And this is where his weaknesses or his shortfalls is exposed at one juncture, where his wife, as opposed to him, she's quite generous. She's generous in the sense that she tend to help the needy, provide for people and all that, I believe. So once she asked him 10 rupees. There's a helpless lady seeking money. Please give me 10 rupees. So this is where, why give her 10 rupees? Even though he didn't wasn't very harsh with her. Why 10 rupees? Isn't 1 rupee not enough? So that's why he recalled his incident. When I was going to the varsity, I was in need of money. I asked for a aid from a wealthy judge in the 18. So if it's Yogananda is born in 1893, so it has to be about at least 10 years earlier, something like that. So the judge told me 1 rupee is a lot of money. Why should I give you to that extent, So he was deprived even that for a good cause and a real needy situation, and yet he, for anyone to ask money is not an easy thing. And that pain in him, when he was denied that access, he carried that negative vibe in him. That moment, the pain, but then it taught him the life of how to manage money at that early age. But you see, here now at this juncture, he was already able to spend and had the comfort and all that. A helpless lady came, and yet he told the wife, just 1 rupee. Why 10? But the lady told, when he narrated his incident, 1 rupee incident, which is a negative element, emotion. So his wife, tell him, rebuke. She told him, chide him, sort of chide him. Why do you want the lady to carry the same memory of, being denied of the 10 rupees for her entire life? When when you see when she told that, being an intelligent and a very capable guy, he's very quick to learn lessons. That is the beauty in him. Not only as another incident as well. So he was very quick. So he knows whether, but there wasn't any remarks in the book about whether he's right or wrong or anything. So never mind. When he heard that, without telling a word, okay, as a goodwill, give her as my goodwill as well, the 10 rupees to her. So another day, the wife is happy, and he also, whether he learned or not, is not the question. But then the fact that his heart relented to provide, because he realized, I believe, through my observation, he realized such a pain another person should not carry on when we are able to provide, unless he is asking a hefty sum and all that. There's not otherwise. So that is one incident which I analyze and I feel, and the important thing is how quick you attend to such remarks and situation. Okay. The other incident is about his employee. He's being a senior guy. His subordinate, one Abhinash Babu. He is a very religious, spiritual seeking guy. And then he wanted to visit Benares, ask for 1 week leave from him. 1 week leave. Why? I wanted to visit my guru in Benares. I need it. So that is where he, being a very focus-minded guy, disciplined with his work and management and all that. And then when he heard that, he told this exact words, are you going to be a religious fanatic? Can you imagine he used such word to visit your religious group? You see, a person who has like Bhagavad Gita influence is there and so capable and all that. Maybe corporate lifestyle-wise is a very successful and all that. And he's a very reasonable person. Even he has remarked, whenever Yogi questioned him, or justify the reasons he wants some money and all that, he will just, once you are justified, he will relent. So in this situation, came to this, and he used such a word. That's the word, exact word written. Huh? So that is where he just told him, are you going to be a religious fanatic? Concentrate on work if you want to forge ahead, meaning you want to progress in life. That is more important. You see, as corporate guys, these kind of remarks are normal for them, But on the humane side, that moment doesn't come. So on the same evening, what happened was because this is where we can see that he is at a different level. On the same day, after work, I think he saw this Abhinash Babu walking towards his house. So he is being carried on a palanquin, this Yogi's father. So that shows a palanquin, those 4 people carrying that kind of palanquin. So then he saw that, okay, he told his conveyance, it's okay, you can go back, I'll walk home today. And he joined him. There it shows his humility. Okay, he realized maybe my words would have offended him or hurt him and all that. To console him and all that. So he decided to talk to him and walk with him. That's a good reflection of his. So he's not, after all, a very egoistic kind of character, quite a balance, except certain things. But what happened was, as he was trying to tell, explain why work is important and all that, they were walking towards a patch of green grass, and the evening sun was there, and the other part is evening sun and the patch of grass. So as they were walking towards that place, suddenly Lahari Masai appeared, Whereas this guy, whatever he was talking, Abhinash Babu said, no, he was so down. He was so down, I couldn't see you and all this. He was just thinking, I didn't have the opportunity to go and visit you, come and visit you and all that. He was trying to talk, he didn't pay much heed to that. And as they were walking towards the field and all that with the sun's ray, his old, the Lahiri Mahasaya image appeared. And also the voice, the sound, he told these exact words. This is what he heard, His name is being Bhagavati. Bhagavati, you are too hard on your employee. The loud voice, you are too hard on your employee. So he appeared, he told the word, and then he vanished. So this Abhinash Babu was so excited, so thrilled, so thrilled and excited. Finally, he got to see him at least. So, nothing mattered at that moment because finally he get to see his man. But what the message came, of course, the direct impact of the Guru appeared. What happened was, he was astounded, he didn't know it is to such an extent a Guru can appear and all that. So that immediately he saw that, it is too much of astonishment with all that. He immediately told, Abhinash, tomorrow your leave is approved and allow me and my wife to join with you for the 2-day trip. Immediately. This is where you can see, opportunities and certain things comes to us. I've experienced this and all that. Sometimes we miss it, we don't realize it. But sometimes we are quick to grab it and you get it done. But here, when that appeared, it's not only a person who used the word fanatic, and how much of the difference now. Immediately he wants to be his disciple as well. Okay, here I will come. So the next day, he and his wife joined Abhinash. They went to Banaras and then went to his ashram. And then as they entered it, the Guruji was there in his posture, sitting and all that. So the Guruji sort of like called him up, or, looked at him and uttered the same word. Bhagavati, you are too hard on your employee. So the same word, so that really connected him. Wow, a person who appeared in that manner and here. And well, someone appearing in human flesh, in a flesh moment. I don't know, some books you could have read, and then we all know about Mahavatar Babaji. And in this particular book, there even Sri Yukteswar as well appeared in front of Yogi Yogananda. Yukteswar is Yogananda's master. He appeared in the same manner, but there are very, very, very wanting situation. If they're all really, really want, he has to, they will appear. Even the Kumbh Mela incidents, 1 or 2 times, I think a couple of times, Mahavatar Babaji appeared. But it's not that when you wanted to go there to see him, hope to see him, may not happen. Others have seen also. I've been hearing and reading articles and all that, but based on the book. So that's digressing a bit, but doesn't matter. That's why, it's too hard for us to believe. Too hard for us to believe that, Lahiri Masaya appeared in form and all that, but there is capable. And Yukteswar will explain to Yogananda in the later chapters. Chapter 43, resurrection of under the chapter resurrection of. So that's why he explained in what manner, in what circumstances, Guru can appear in front of his disciple. So that justifies, And here, when he went there, immediately, even coming back to this situation in the ashram, the Guru summoned both Bhagavati and his wife, and then they initiated Kriya Yoga. So finally he was very happy that he also joined the trip to Banaras. And I believe, and it's my opinion, sometimes this is where the tendency, but then we shouldn't be too carried on with that. There is a purpose why Lahiri Mahasaya appeared at that moment, at that field. There is a purpose. Because being very capable parents, very not so much on the affluent side, and capable parents and the right values, ideals and all that. So that is one part of it. So he also sought after for good, that level of characters Basically, there is a hidden agenda only. On the other hand, we all know as souls, this is what I've read. It's not, maybe some may not agree with it, or some may not be convinced with it. We choose our parents. That is what I've read, and that is what I've known of. Belief is another thing. I leave it to you. I don't want to convince anybody. That's not my role. So we chose our parents. That's what we have read, and that is there in our, at least in our pyramid society to some extent. Yeah. So, but then you see, knowing Yogananda is an enlightened soul prior to the birth itself. Otherwise, in the childhood, he wouldn't have seen, done certain things. He couldn't have imagined all that, And to vouch for it, in order to the soul to search the right parents, and whence, even the soul has searched the right parents, there is something, I believe, something which is slightly lacking. That is where the Guru appeared to play a role in some manner. This is where I believe, this is my imagination, you can say, but I think there is a reason behind it. Because Lahiri Mahasaya was given the responsibility of spreading Kriya Yoga by Mahatar Babaji. Prior to much earlier, he practiced, but it was like over the generation, it was lost. So finally, it is through Lahiri Mahasaya, Mahatar Babaji appeared to reignite and requested, or rather implanted these thoughts in him to initiate Kriya Yoga and to promote Kriya Yoga. So that is his task, basically one of his main tasks, Lahiri Mahasaya. So when he has that in mind, and when Yogananda was born and all that, right? He has all that knowledge. So for the soul to get the right parents is also within the spiritual masters, or within the realm, there is a necessity to have the right parents, I believe. At the same time, when Yogananda was born, he, after his birth, in this situation, meaning these parents, when he was born, he also has gone through a lot of challenges, health-wise, ailments and all that, So by this time, prior to that also, they have already a followers of Lahiri. And when he was born and all that, by this time they are staunch followers, not say staunch is not the right word, ardent followers, devotees of, disciples of Lahiri Mahasaya. And when he was born, there are a couple of incidents where Lahiri's blessings were obviously very prevalent during the recollection of Yogananda. Okay, one incident was just before going there, I would like to touch on this. Actually, the Abhinash story, even his parents has not told him. So when Abhinash became, after that, they are all, his father and Abhinash became very closer. Even one day, do you know how your parents became followers of Lahiri Mahasaya? Abhinash is the one who asked Yogananda during his childhood, He said, I didn't know. And that is where he will narrate this incident which I told you all. So it is after that, and he also mentioned, Abhinash mentioned, definitely he will play a great role in your growth and your progress. Abhinash mentioned, to Yogananda, definitely he will definitely play a great role towards your progress in this discipline. And that is where, coming back to here, when he is born and all that, so he is, apart from all his majors, there is this Asiatic cholera. It's a very serious situation. He was barely 8 years old, around that age. So even the doctors gave up, being all that resources they have, nothing can be done. Doctors gave up. So what happened was, in their house, they were gifted with a photograph, That is one of the only photograph of Lahiri Mahasaya. They had the gift from the Lahiri Mahasaya. That was in their one of their room in the hall, in their house, basically the prayer room, you can say. So, and they have the tendency to sit and meditate, pray, and then he's in front of his photo. They were practicing that, especially his mother with the children and he himself, So that during that incident, when he was so feeble and she was weak and all that, basically, and he can't even raise his hand and all that. So his mother ensured that you look at the photo, talking to him, look at the photo, bow to him, seek blessings and bow to him, So he is, to the extent he can't even raise his hand. So whilst doing that situation, the entire room filled up with illumination, lights. It's like full of light, wali, whatever, glow, to the extent. And the next minute, when the whole thing went off, he was completely okay, completely recovered. He recalled very vividly in this incident in the book, And that is where his mother was also there. And she knew it is his blessings, basically. And she immediately, and this boy, I mean, Yogi at that age, he went and, go and touch his mother's feet, I'm okay and all that. And she immediately went to his photo and then put her forehead over the photo and guided him and feel that it is his guidance. Okay, that is an incident where his health was affected, and that really, that happened as to what he has narrated. Okay, so this is where when what Abhinash told, and how his parents, I cannot imagine, or I've never heard this kind of stories where a guru appeared when you're not even a disciple, But I think in that sense, he appeared for a purpose. For a purpose, I believe, and that's where, and he has the gift and the blessings to be with the right parents and with the right environment to nurture his desires and goals. Okay? Having said that, just give me about 5 minutes, I'll wrap up. So having said that, and in between when he was growing also, there are moments he wasn't meditating. There is incidents mentioned in the book that he wasn't meditating, he would sit and just think about him, because he too became very attached to the photo of Lahiri, and he can feel that there are moments when he was just in that manner, the luminous image of Lahiri Masa coming down, So when he goes down and feeling that he wants to like touch his feet and all that, then the whole thing, nothing, just the photo is there. So these are experiences he can recall when he was grown up. So that is where the initiation towards a disciple and the guru, master or guru, that is where how important and relevant, where it is also his mother, his parents. No need to talk about Abhinash. He was a sincere devotee. Even suddenly, and then they had one incident where he was requested to come forward, initiate, and thereafter become total devotee of him. So all these are indication. Sometimes destiny is written. It is just that identifying the right people and right. And that is why, in that sense, I mentioned the word, he is a very gifted child in that sense. But the larger purpose, there is a larger purpose why he's gifted. There's a larger purpose where when Yogananda aspired to become spiritual master and all that, he went on with Yukteswar. After all the running around and all that, that is not so much. He finally went to the right master. And that is where Yukteswar will get the message who is Lahiri Masaya's disciple. You will get a student. You will get a student for your guidance, and you have to train him up, not to serve here, to serve elsewhere. So this is where, you see, when the messages through the masters, all these are being conveyed in some manner, subtle manner. Maybe that part of the topic I'll come back another day in that relevant chapter. So this is where how well this book is done for Yogi to express all this It is like, how to set the pace for a sincere spiritual seekers, how and in what manner we should, like, attune our lifestyle, our desires, and not just us, even our children to some extent, and then our peers or friends and all that. That to the society at large, basically, how a guru can show the path towards disciples, to ardent seekers, to real sincere seekers, how to guide them and to achieve what they have in mind now. Having said that, just finishing, yeah. Okay, one other incident I would say about Bhagavati, I have to say this. So that is how, but other part where Yukteswar and all this I mentioned, why and all that, maybe the later chapter when I deal it, I can touch on it, okay, for the time being. Another very important, which we all have heard very often, about this message is very important, I believe. Bhagavati, he is a very hardworking man, very, very devoted, committed to his work. So when he was retired and all that, foreign auditor came to the company, and he's noted all his accounts and all that. And that's why he saw there is 125,000 rupees owed and due to Bhagavati. But I believe the policy there is it's all the overdue bonuses and for hard work he has put in. And he even commented that, he worked equivalent to 3 people's role, in the company. So you can imagine what kind of a role he has taken the task upon, So, and that white guy recommended the payment and released a check to his account. So when that money was in the account, the father never uttered, never talked anything about it. This is where a man who was so thrifty and then so reasonably affluent, but yet, on the one hand, the 10 rupees he remarked, maybe the lesson he learned or what, I'm not sure. So when the 125,000 rupees came into the account, he never talked to it to the family. None of them talked about it until Vishnu, there's another brother of Yogi, he discovered in the account and told the father, you have so much of money, and then why you never tell us and all that. So this is where he was telling the remarks, Okay, he was telling when so much of money, everybody was excited. He never talked and make it as a big thing. Why be elated with material profit? Why be so excited, basically, with the one who pursues a goal of even-mindedness, basically balanced character, is neither jubilant, excited, happy with gain, nor depressed with loss. So even when you have such a big thing or victory or gain, you're not excited. And at the same time, even when you're lost, when there is a grief or anything like that, you won't feel the pain. You should not feel the pain because you are so balanced with your. So this is where and he continued, man arrives penniless in this world, without any penny in this world, and departs without a single rupee. That is the message which we all know. We when we seek on the spiritual path, money is important, yes, for our daily needs and all that. So you see, the characters he puts out here about his father himself is a lesson where he imparts to the society, to the needs of the people. Okay, so having said that, I've in fact chapter 1 itself there is another 2 stories. Maybe if at all time permits or given the opportunity, I'll talk to you all in some other time. And thank you very much. And it's a book worth reading. And to those who are not able to read, in Tamil also the audio book is there. Very nice Tamil. Those who are good in Tamil will enjoy listening to Tamil. In English also there. So you can just on at least chapter by chapter you listen and you'll get the message behind the book. Okay? But reading and listening is one thing, but analyze and go through the message, hidden message is the greater need. Then it serves our purpose of being here. Okay? Thank you very much, Masters, for the